How's it going? What's your name, man?
It's Max.
Max. My name's Mohammed.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you. Yeah. So tell me, you're Canadian, yeah?
Yeah.
What's
we lost the other guy.
Yeah, I don't know where he went.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Sorry. Sorry about that.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, my friend. Yes. He wants us to stop. Just
Cool.
no
We
problem.
can go like against the fence if you want.
No.
Alright.
I don't like going against him. I'm joking. So, are you here for like? Are you a tourist here or?
Yeah, pretty much. I just wandered by.
Yeah. And so, what's your theological? Like, what are you theologically convinced with? You're an
I would
atheist.
say agnostic, I guess, because I said atheist earlier, but then some guys caught me in a logic trap, so agnostic fits better.
No, but it's a humble position, agnosticism, isn't it? So,
Sure, yeah.
fair enough. No, I mean, it's good that I'm talking to you about this because what I wanted to say first and foremost is let's ask the overall question, yeah? Before we talk about human beings, I heard you talking about like kind of evolutionary type things with the other gentleman, yeah?
Yeah.
But generally, I wanted to ask you, like, how do you explain us being here? How did the universe come into existence?
The most truthful answer I can give is that we don't have concrete evidence of any given means of creation of our universe yet.
Let me ask you a better question.
Okay.
Max, yeah?
Yeah.
This is the thing. This seriously, yeah?
Alright.
Whenever I speak to atheists, it always boils, obviously, and rightfully so, down to the evidence, doesn't it, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your truth standard? What for you is sufficient evidence, generally speaking, in order for you to accept a thing?
In order for me to accept something as likely true, because I think if you have a truthful scientific view of the world, you'll never accept anything as 100% concretely true, right? Like, we've printed hundreds of thousands of books, and every single time we do it, we apply ink to a letter, and we press that letter into the page.
Yeah.
And so we print a word there. It is possible that one time when we apply ink to a letter and press it into a page, the book will spontaneously combust. I haven't seen it yet, you haven't seen it yet, but we can't say with 100% certainty that it couldn't happen, right? So
Yes.
what I'm operating from is a
Probabilistic.
theory basis. Yeah, so what I would accept as truth would be a body of research or evidence or a conversation that strongly suggests something. For instance, like, we believe that aircraft will fly every time we apply a given amount of thrust to a wing with a given shape because we've tested that hundreds of thousands of times, and every single time the aircraft takes off. It's possible that it won't one time, but the body of evidence suggests that it will.
Okay, I like that. I agree with that.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
So in short, what you're saying is you accept what you could say is a probabilistic type reasoning, yeah?
Yeah.
So based on likelihoods, you assess whether a thing is true or false, generally speaking.
Likely or unlikely, I would
Yeah, likely or unlikely, and obviously that varies in proportions depending on what you're talking about, yeah?
Generally speaking, depending on the size of the sample for evidence, right?
Okay.
So one experiment is a pretty weak proof. 100,000 experiments, fairly strong.
That's I agree with that, yeah? Very good. Now, let's apply this logic, because here what you've said is that you accept a probabilistic type reasoning, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's apply this to the universe and its construction or its creation or whatever you want to call it, yeah? Or its inception. My standard question to you would be then, how did the universe come into existence? What's your answer for that, first of all?
My answer is that we're still working on finding the truth of that,
Okay.
and that it's very difficult for us to find an absolute truth given the time scale that it occurred on. We have some theories that are looking increasingly likely, but we don't have an absolute answer. However, I don't believe that theists do either.
Okay, thank you. Now, you said you agree with the probabilistic type reasoning, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you accept that the universe is finely tuned?
Finely tuned?
And let me define what I mean by finely tuned, yeah?
Okay.
What I mean by finely tuned is that the variables or the constants in terms of physics
Yeah.
are set in such a way as to allow any life to exist. This is my definition of finely tuned.
Okay. Now, I would refute that by saying that on most planets that we've observed directly, because there are a lot that
No,
we
but I'm
haven't,
not talking about planets. I'm talking about the universe generally.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
the universe generally is empty space. After that, it's ultra hot gas giants, it's black holes, it's stars.
Yeah. So
And
all of the constant. Yes.
An incomprehensibly small portion of it is suitable for some life. That's a far cry from finely tuned for life to exist.
No, that's not correct, because you can the question of whether life is fit to exist in the universe is a dichotomous question. So it's either yes or no. So I would ask you, is the universe tuned or finely tuned for any life to exist in it? You would answer by saying yes or no. And if you say no, you have to substantiate that in the light of the evidences. No. Because if there's any kind of life that exists in the universe, no matter how small or insignificant in your eyes, that disproves your thesis. Do you understand the point?
I don't believe that to be true, but for the sake of continuing this discussion, I'll accept that a portion
No, but-
of the universe is a good location for life. to
No, but
occur.
let's not just for the sake of this argument, because
Yeah.
what you've done here is you've given me no reason. Here we know that life exists on this universe, yes or no?
Well, yeah, we're standing here,
Okay.
aren't
We know that the universe facilitated that in terms of its constants and its physical properties, yes or no?
we? Sure. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now, where the life exists, how much life exists in terms of quantity, these are peripheral questions or additional questions or supplementary questions. They don't affect the question at hand, which is, does the universe or is the universe finely tuned for any kind of life to exist? And I'm not honing in on human beings and saying that human beings here.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm
Life
saying
in
any
general,
kind of life to
Does
exist.
the universe allow life to exist?
Yes, that's the question. Thank you very much. Now,
That's-
according to the majority, according to it's almost a consensus in science now, yeah, in terms of physics, that physicists, whether they be agnostic, atheistic, or theistic, acknowledge the fine-tuning of the universe. Now, Stephen Hawking says this in The Brief History of Time. Even Richard Dawkins says this. Many different people, obviously Martin Rees, who wrote the book Just Six Numbers, many different individuals, they make this claim, okay? My point is, when they say this, what they're effectively saying is that the constants in terms of physics are so finely tuned, had they been otherwise adjusted, the universe would not allow any kind of life to exist. And therefore, me and you couldn't have this conversation. Does this make sense so far?
Yeah, if the universe was tuned in such a way that life couldn't exist in it, then life wouldn't exist in it. That's true, but it's also kind of an end in itself.
Okay, now, my question is, probabilistically, because this was obviously,
Yeah, an argument from probability.
yeah,
And
your
from
argument
proof.
from probability, this was your original point,
Yeah.
wasn't it? So, probabilistically now, I'm asking you a very simple question. What is the probability that the universe could have randomly allowed for human life to, or any life to exist?
So this is like, could the room full of monkeys with typewriters eventually write Shakespeare thing, right?
No, because...
Well, no, it is. It's the same argument. I mean, it's different constituent parts, but it's the same core argument. So
It's
obviously the
not
probability is
the only
quite high.
difference.
No.
Sorry.
Let me answer your question.
Yes, of
directly.
course. Sorry.
The
Go ahead.
probability is
Yes.
necessarily
Yes.
high enough for that to occur, because if you accept that the universe is more or less infinite, right?
No.
You don't.
I-
You think there's an edge?
Well, do you think that the universe didn't have a beginning?
It may or may not have.
Wait, hold on. Because now you're moving away from the scientific evidences. The majority of scientists clearly believe in the Big Bang and clearly believe in the expanding universe model.
That is not true. Those are both theories.
No, but do you not
And
believe in
a
that?
great number of scientists
No, that's
accept
fine.
them.
I'm not saying that you're compelled. I'm just saying it's fine. I'm just saying you don't have to accept those things.
Okay, so here's the thing. You asked me if I believe that, like, what the probability is that the universe, when just interacting randomly with itself, would produce the conditions.
That wasn't
necessary
what I
for
said,
life.
by the way.
No? Okay, just clarify.
I said, generally speaking, I didn't say interacting randomly with myself. That wasn't an insertion I made, Max.
Okay.
I said, generally speaking, the inception of the universe, yeah? Upon the inception, if you obviously believe in an inception or beginning of the universe, which you're
don't
saying
know
you
that I
don't.
do.
Yeah, which you're saying you don't. But,
Well, no, I'm not saying I don't or I do. I'm saying I don't know.
okay, fine, that's fair enough. That's a fair enough position. Max, that's a fair enough position. But what I'm saying is, you're saying, and you wanted to presuppose here, for this conversation to continue, that the universe existed for an infinitely long amount of time. Now I'm saying, what's the proof for that? Since you're the one who's asking for proof, generally, I'm also in my right to ask you for your proof.
Sure. We don't have any proof based on carbon dating or any other scientific means that really extends much beyond the borders of this planet and maybe some adjacent ones. Like, as I understand it, we've taken soil samples from Mars, we've taken soil samples from the Moon. And in both of those cases, the soil samples that we took were able to be carbon dated back a certain amount of time. However, we didn't take deep core samples of the Moon or Mars, so we can't rightly say at this point in time whether we know as an absolute truth how old either one of those bodies are. Now, keep in mind, we've
That's
only
good.
touched 2 celestial bodies in our solar system, which is
That's
a limited
good.
part of a galaxy, so on and so forth. So, obviously, no scientist in their right mind would claim to have absolute knowledge of the beginnings of the universe. All we have are theoretical models.
Okay, thank you very much. But you're now presupposing a beginning of the universe? Because what you said, just to summarize what you've said there, is that you don't have any evidences or proof to suggest that the universe was here for an infinite amount of time. That's what you said.
I certainly don't have proof.
Okay, you don't have proof. So that's the thing. To be honest with you here, Max,
Yeah.
I have to be honest with you. Yeah? You seem like a very genuine guy, yeah?
Sure.
You seem to be deviating away from the principle that you've laid down for yourself. In the beginning of this conversation, I said to you, what is your standard of truth, what kind of thing would you accept? Yeah, of course, yes, to explore the world.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, generally speaking,
Yeah.
in the beginning you said that my standard of truth is a probabilistic one.
Yeah.
Yes? Based on evidences, you compile the evidences together and come to conclusions based on that evidences, based on those evidence or that data or those sets of data, on whether you think something is probable or not probable.
Sure.
Okay. And then in the same breath, or in a later statement, you said that I don't have any evidences for the fact that the universe was around for an infinite amount of time. So this is,
especially if we can find it to me as a person standing here right now, but in a more general sense, in terms of what I've learned, we do not have concrete evidence one way or the other.
thank you very much. Okay, so if that's the case, why would you put that as a presupposition? It's very odd. So why would you assume that the universe here existed forever?
I didn't.
You said, no, you did.
It may have.
Okay.
There's a very great gap, and we should be precise about this. There's a very great gap between saying that something is likely or unlikely and saying it's possible, and also another gap over to saying that it's true.
Okay.
I did not say it was true.
No, I know you
did not
didn't
say
say
it was
that.
particularly
That's
likely or
fine.
unlikely. I said it was possible.
No, I like that.
It's
No,
possible to find spaghetti monsters up there somewhere. So let's just be clear. I'm not saying that
So
it's
no.
100%
Do you know
true
what
or
is?
untrue.
Can I tell you and the people something right here and right now? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the purpose of this, isn't it?
Yes. No, Max. I need to tell you something.
All right.
I need to tell you something because, you know, and this might sound. I want you guys, like, generally to really picture what I'm saying.
Okay.
With infinity,
Yeah.
literally almost everything is possible. I'll tell you what I mean by that.
That's correct. No, you don't have to explain it. I understand.
No, but I just want to make sure, like you said, spaghetti monsters. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a probability, like, actually, it's not a probability. It's 100% the case
If
that
the
me and
universe
you,
were infinite.
if the universe were infinite, me and you had this conversation before in Pluto and Mars and all of these different planets.
Well, hang on. Not on Pluto or Mars. It's
Yes, no.
possible There's another universe very like
No,
ours,
but hold
where
on,
another
hold
pair
on.
of people very like us had a conversation very like this.
No.
But it is not possible that
Everything is
us
possible.
two
No.
had the exact
No.
same
This is what I want you to understand. With the existence of infinity, because with it, look, people don't understand what infinity is. Infinity literally is everything becomes possible, literally. Now,
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
There's an unending number of iterations of everything.
Thank
I
you
suppose
very much.
You could say that something very akin to this happened before. Sure.
no, this happened before in all the planets of the universe.
You don't know that because if,
No, but that's happened. If
not
everything is
necessarily
possible.
happened. It could happen. It could have happened previously, or it could happen
Well,
in the future.
yes, thank you. That's right. That's correct.
Yeah, you
So,
can't make an absolute statement
yeah.
about infinity
No,
if,
fair
as
enough.
you say, no one can
You're right.
understand infinity.
So it's either happened before or it's going to happen in the future. That me and you have this conversation in Pluto and Mars. No, but I know it sounds ridiculous. It sounds,
Conceptually, sure.
yeah, conceptually, it is true. Yes, because all these things.
Absolutions, I don't know what that.
No. Absolutions. We're talking about past and present,
Yeah.
and future as well. Yeah. With the existence of infinity, you've got everything is possible. Can you conceive this? Because I know it's difficult for people to conceive
It's
this.
not difficult for me to conceive, so don't.
No, not you. But just generally, people find that. So how is that possible? You don't understand. But with the existence, infinity is such a concept that almost everything becomes possible. Like I could be flying in another universe.
All right, you made that
Thank
point.
you. Okay, now, no, because this is important, right? If I say to you that if almost everything either has happened or will happen, then that would suggest here, this is important, that for you to say it's possible that the universe was infinite or it's possible this or possible that, in the context of an infinite universe, is really neither here nor
Just to be
there.
clear, have you accepted the premise that it is infinite?
No, of course not. I've already rejected that.
Alright.
Yeah, I've rejected this. I've rejected. Yes, of course, my friend. Yes.
Nothing to repeat. It's just always evolution, and then it's a progress.
Yes.
So it's not you cannot have the discussion what you said in the past, or we're gonna have in the future.
What with the existence of infinity? Why?
Always is evolution.
But you understand, yeah?
Technically, every condition of this being the same.
Maybe 2 million human beings doesn't exist no more. It's having another spaceship.
Anyways,
Dominate the
but
world.
thank you very much for your contribution. Is there anything you want to add? Anything more? Okay. But you understand the argument, the line of argument, yeah?
Sure. I would add one point though.
Yes, go ahead, please.
If the universe is infinite,
Yeah.
it is possible that this conversation will repeat or has occurred in the past. But this exact one, in this exact point in the universe physically, and also at this exact point chronologically, could not reoccur.
No. Who said that? Why? Who made that? Who made that condition? No. Tell me the reason why. With the existence of infinity, there's
Because
no.
theoretically, even in an infinite universe, you know what? Maybe you could have a repeating point in space.
Of course you can. Yeah, you definitely will. Actually. Okay, so this infinity thing, by the way, which doesn't exist in the real world.
Okay.
I don't even believe infinity exists in the real world. Infinity doesn't exist in the real world.
Well, we don't know that.
No, I mean, mathematicians have spoken on this. Like Hilbert, you know the Hilbert hotel example?
Go ahead.
You know where he said that if you had a hotel with an infinite amount of rooms and two people left the hotel, yeah? How many people do you have in a hotel? Infinity minus 2. How can you have infinity minus 2? That's a contradiction in terms.
It is, but if you accept that...
There's no way you can have infinity minus 2. That's a contradiction in terms.
All
If two
right,
people came into such a hotel, Hilbert says, what do you have then? Infinity plus 2.
Does the hotel have infinite rooms?
Yeah.
Does everything around the hotel have infinite
It's
space?
the hotel, yeah.
Is there an infinite
Yeah,
number
yeah.
of people?
Yeah,
Is there a
yeah.
universe outside the hotel?
This is the presupposition, yeah. So do you get what I'm saying here? This concept of infinity, when you scrutinize it from a philosophical
The only problem
perspective
with that example,
and a
I suppose,
mathematical
is that
perspective, it
if two
doesn't
people
work.
had escaped infinity and then gone back into it, it defeats the fact that the hotel is infinite. 'Cause you can't
Exactly.
leave it.
Thank you. That's correct. So it's a contradiction in terms.
Yeah, okay.
So the concept of infinity as applied in the quantifiable, tangible realm is something which actually cannot exist. It's not that it just doesn't exist. It's something which conceptually, mathematically, philosophically cannot exist.
How do you know that?
For the examples I've just given you, but it's not my example, it's the mathematician's example. It's Hilberg's example. It's called Hilberg's
Sure,
hotel or whatever
but
it's called.
there's an assumption in that example, which is that the two people can leave the hotel.
Yeah, why not? Why shouldn't that be the assumption?
Well, because if the hotel's truly infinite, then how would you get out?
Well, I mean, what's this and this? Why? How does that contradict that?
No. So you asked for.
Why does he have to be?
right?
It's not a
So
prison. It's a hotel.
This is your infinite hotel.
But it's not.
This is your
I didn't say it's an
hotel.
infinite prison.
You have two individuals inside of it. The next thing you say is these two individuals leave it. Thereby, the hotel is no longer infinite because there's an edge in the escape pit. That is a finite hotel.
Okay,
my
so
friend.
that's exactly right. So what you've done there is you've correctly identified the contradiction
Yeah.
of dealing with infinity.
Yeah. But that, as an example,
plus
does
or
not
minus,
disprove
dealing
the
with,
possibility of
finity.
infinity to me. It just means that that example is flawed.
Okay, give
You
me.
can't take a flawed example
But
and
listen,
expand it to encompass the entire universe and
no,
expect that to convince me.
no. What I'm saying is, give me. Okay, so in your case, I'm just going to ask you a question. Give me a quantifiable example of how infinity has existed in the real world.
You can't. That's the beauty of it.
No, sorry. No, sorry. No, you.
The beauty of it, you can't understand it. Isn't that kind of like a cop out? Like you're just escaping from. Yeah, you just don't want to. Like you don't want to accept the truth.
Well, infinity is a concept.
So anything you can't understand is beautiful. Is that the?
No, that specifically is beautiful. The beauty to me of the infinite universe is that there are infinite possibilities, as you said. And you're trying to use this, although we haven't gotten there yet, to prove the existence of some sort of God, right? So can we jump a little closer
I haven't
to that?
even talked about God.
Okay. Well, what's your angle then?
Look, my angle is this. Look, Max, I've thoroughly enjoyed having this conversation with you because you're not just like the normal agnostic or atheist that really doesn't know the arguments. You're well aware of the arguments. I'm sure you have a book there that you've been reading.
And not about this, but it is a book, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just saw a scientific name of the book, so I thought.
It is a science book, yeah.
Listen, Max. Today, we have laid basically a basic premise, and we have agreed with it. And this is the beauty of it. I call this beautiful myself, yeah. We said that we both accept that something which has a probabilistic reasoning is something which maybe ought to be accepted.
Sure.
Okay. Now, going back, since I said to you, listen, you cannot prove the existence of an infinite universe. It actually contradicts the science of today, for the most part. Like the expanding universe model, it does contradict it. You can't say it doesn't, because the expanding universe model, where you know that there's an expanding universe because of the redshift of the stars and whatnot, yeah. This indicates that there was a singular beginning, and that's the Big Bang theory, isn't it?
I wouldn't go that far. It indicates that things are separating from one another at a quantifiable rate, but that doesn't necessarily prove the existence of a beginning or end. It just proves the evidence you can see before you, which is that there is that redshift and there is some separation. But to jump from that and say that that proves the Big Bang theory is a large leap.
No,
that's
well, hold on. No. Look, think of it this way. Let me put it like in a scientific example that I'm sure they teach the kids in school. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that but like this is.
Did you get it? Do teach the kids.
Yeah.
In school.
Yeah. So basically, you know when you have the balloon, yeah, or a balloon,
Yeah.
and you blow a balloon. Now, if you blow up a balloon, obviously all the edges of the balloon are touching each other in the first instance, yeah.
When the balloon is unfilled?
Yes, unfilled.
No, not all of the edges. I'm sure there are some where they separate by a little bit.
Okay, I'm giving you. I mean,
For the sake of the example.
okay,
sure.
come on,
Infinitely
come on.
contracting balloon.
I'm giving. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Now you blow up the balloon.
Yep. It's very demonstrative. Yeah. Now you have a balloon.
Now you have a balloon. Now the balloon was expanding. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
If you have an expanding balloon like that, it means it had 1 point.
From balloons to say that the universe has to have had a big bang in
Not
order
my
to be expanding, are you?
This is not my argument. This is how they did. This is how they explained to me when I was a boy in school in this country, my friend.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how my atheist science teacher explained to me in GCSE science.
Young enough to tell you the mummy
I'm
and
sure
daddy hug, that's how
you were explained in a similar way. They explained that's how they explain the Big Bang model and they explain the expanding universe.
That's a bad teacher. Okay, let's.
Yes.
I don't want us to get lost in group discussion.
Yes,
here.
yeah, okay, fair enough. Yes.
So. Wow, that guy's popular. So you have the expanding balloon.
See, look,
yes,
look. Can I say
somebody
something? Yeah. Sorry to say this, but some people they say that the Canadians don't have a sense of humor.
They're not correct.
No,
Maybe
no,
some
no,
of us, I don't know. But
You've heard this before, yeah? I'm sure. I mean,
I've never heard that, but I live in the place, so I wouldn't know.
no. Some say that, but today I think you've given us evidence that we can put into our probability generator to.
Yeah, I would say I would
assume
give some
otherwise.
evidence in favor of there being humor in Canada.
Yeah. Go. Tell me now.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, no doubt here.
Sure. So
The Big
something
Bang
acted
model.
on the balloon to make it expand.
The balloon had a starting point. Yeah, had a singular point. This is the Big Bang theory. This is the Big Bang, and then it all expanded. That's the Big Bang theory.
Not the Big Bang theory for this one reason. Big Bang theory does not in any way mention or try to prove the existence of an external force acting on the beginning of the universe. The furthest that we've really gone.
No,
is to
I'm
say
not saying
there
that,
was
but
an event in
I'm not.
time. So in your example,
Max.
there's you standing there blowing into a balloon, and also there's something outside the balloon. There's the room that you're in.
Thank
now,
you.
neither one of those things is part of the Big Bang theory. There is no
Accepted.
externality to the universe.
Accepted.
There is no force acting.
No, the no externality of the universe is not something you can say. It's something you can only be agnostic about. Yeah.
Because we're inside the universe.
Thank
How
you.
do we know?
Yeah. The whole thing about force, once again, it's only something we can be either agnostic or assured about. But you cannot
Be
negative.
assured about it.
Well, if you have, what I'm going to say right now, evidences or your probability reasoning suggests that, listen, going back to the fine tuning, that couldn't be that this finely tuned universe is a result of a random generation.
Why not?
Okay, tell me now, what's the probability of it being the case? Let me ask you a direct question. What is the probability, now that we've gotten rid of infinity, what is the probability that the universe could have come about out of a as finely tuned as it is in terms of physical constants, without the existence of an intelligence? Randomly. Tell me the answer.
I suppose it depends on your model a little bit, right? Because we can talk about one of two things. Like, what percentage of the universe is habitable? Or, what is the probability that all
But
of
we
the
had this
component
discussion
parts
before,
of the
Max.
universe interacting could
Max,
result in the conditions for life?
Max, we had this discussion before.
Yeah, I know.
So let's not go back, because we said already, so long as any part of the universe has life in it, then we can
Then we accept
firmly...
that the whole thing is quote-unquote finely tuned for life.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, I have a little trouble with that language, because, I mean, finely tuned, like...
Well, that's the language the atheists use.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. To answer your question in the way that you want me to...
No, I don't want you, just the way you want to.
Okay. But also the truth. It's
Yes.
very small. It
Very
took an
small.
incredibly long time for the conditions for life to arise.
Would it be
And the
1%
reason it
or
took
less
so
than
long-
1%?
Oh, far less than 1.
Far less than 1%. So, okay, now please. Max, here is the crossroads. We're standing at the junction, Max.
right,
Okay?
sure.
No, seriously. No, this is it. And for all the atheists that are watching this, please ponder. Okay? Please ponder. You started off by saying that your method of conceptualizing truth and false is a probabilistic method. I have just asked you, what is the possibility of the universe coming about random... Pardon?
Do you always need to review this much for your audience?
It's always good to. What is the probability that the universe came about randomly without an intelligence, and you said far less than 1%, which would suggest that...
May I ask you a
wait, let me
question
just...
in return?
Yes, of course, let me just finish that, yes.
Alright.
That would suggest that over 99, probably 0.9 recurring % of the probability is in line with the idea that there's an intelligent force.
No.
Okay, now tell me.
Massive logic leap, dude. You can't
No,
do
it's
that.
not. Now tell me, no, hold on. Because the question I asked you, hold on, Max. The question I asked you is that if we're assuming there is no intelligence, what's the probability? And it's all random. You said less than 1%. So that would suggest that if there is an intelligence, that is 0.1% or 99.9% the case. Do you get it? It makes perfect sense. Now tell me why it's a logical leap.
Even in statistics, when you draw out a tree diagram, so if something is 1%, the other bit has to be 99, and then it spreads out from that's 5%, you work out that 1%.
I like this. Good, nice contribution. Jazakallah khair. What's your name, brother?
Now, here's how I dismantle your theory. We are standing in the universe where the conditions for life arose.
Yeah.
So there may be a probabilistic argument to be made that there might have been, an intelligent designer that created the conditions for life, maybe. But we are standing in one in which they did evolve randomly.
So now you're talking about the anthropic principle, yeah?
Sure.
Okay, do you know, even, to be honest with you, yeah? Even Richard Dawkins, you can go online and check Richard Dawkins, yeah? Actually, I'll take that back. Don't check him out, but check him out on this issue, yeah? Write Richard Dawkins' anthropic
all
principle.
Stuff out, it's good.
Richard Dawkins' anthropic principle, yeah? He himself, he's not in favor of a strong anthropic principle. He said that the idea that you can make the argument that you've just made here, philosophically, and he's not really a philosopher really, it's a weak one. Why? And this is the old-fashioned example, yeah? Of someone, let's say for example, a group of people, a group of police officers, they run after you because maybe you've been a bad guy in Canada or something like that, yeah? You're a serial killer and they put you up against the wall. And then they all shoot you like this with a gun. All of them are shooting at you, maybe at 1 feet distance. All of them are shooting at you, yeah? And then at the end of it, you close your eyes. And then you open your eyes, Max. And you look behind you, Max, and you realize that all the bullets literally were around your body, like that. And you say, look, man, you say, the reason why the bullets didn't hit me is because the bullets didn't hit me. And therefore, the fact that I'm here is proof that the bullets didn't hit me. This is the example of a cyclical argument. It's so weak that even I'm not saying yours, but atheistic proponents don't even make this argument. It's so weak that you should literally put it into the philosophical dustbin. You know the philosophical dustbin. You open up, say, listen, man, this argument, chuck it in there.
Yeah, fair. I guess.
That's one of the failures. You can't throw, still you have to question. You can't throw one. You have to favor one. That's a bit.
I want your answer for this. Thank you for that contribution. Yes.
My answer to what? Whether or not we should.
No. We're using probability.
Okay.
We are using probability.
Right. So,
you've used the anthropic principle. We put it into the dustbin. Now what are we going to do?
You said that I could ask you a question in return.
Of course, Max.
All right.
Of course.
So in an evidence-based fashion, what is the probability that this universe has been created by something external to it? And how can you possibly know that as someone from within the universe? Because as you acknowledged yourself earlier on, if you're inside the universe, you can have no knowledge of anything outside of it. So how is it that you presume knowledge? There is an intelligent creator.
Say the question. Make the question clear again. So go on. Because these are two questions, yeah? Let me just make sure. Sorry.
You stated that as a being existing inside the universe,
yes,
you can have no knowledge of anything outside of it.
No knowledge.
No, you did. Yeah,
you can have no knowledge.
If you're inside the room, you can't know about the room, right?
Yeah,
you
okay.
agreed. If we're inside the universe, we can't know about anything.
You can have limited knowledge using empiricism.
So I understand your probabilistic argument for the.
Max, can I just make one qualification?
All right.
You can have limited knowledge using empiricism because we're not able to perform the scientific method outside the universe because we're just simply not there. But I would maintain that using logical methods of deduction, induction, abduction, you can come to conclusions about that which is outside of the universe. Just to be clear. Go ahead.
I don't know that I fully accept that. But
why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, because we're within the universe, right? So.
Yeah. So what? What does that show? What does that? Who cares?
So we can theorize about things outside of it, but coming to conclusions about things outside of it is a bit presumptuous, don't you think?
No. I think that based on the evidences of what's inside, you can make conclusions and deductions about that which must be outside.
Okay. Well, I'll admit this. I haven't eaten since breakfast, and I did make a mistake there. I allowed you to trap me in the probabilistic argument, so kudos for that. But I will now ask you my question. What evidence do you have to support the existence of your God that doesn't come from a tome something written down by other human beings. What evidence do you
I have not spoken about any
here
book.
now? I know, but you have a belief system that comes from somewhere, and I can fairly confidently assert that you didn't just generate it yourself. Would that be fair to say?
I would say, listen.
Because if so, you're committing to being part of a belief system that no one else here is.
Listen, I'm just saying. You told me here now something about a book or something, yeah? I've not mentioned one religion, nor Christianity or Islam or Judaism or Hinduism.
Just the probability of intelligent design, right? That's where you're driving.
I'm just talking about some physical realities, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't know why you've made that point, that red herring, or that straw man argument. And as you've mentioned before,
straw man.
of course it's a straw man. Do you know what a straw man is? Okay, a straw man is when you cannot. Okay, you've admitted, and sorry to put you in the spot like this, but you've admitted that I trapped you in the probabilistic argument, yeah? But why should it be a trap? Why don't you just accept the conclusions that we've reached?
So here's something that I did say, and it is on the record.
Yes.
So I can check if you like.
Go on, Max.
I said that in reality, my belief system is based on two things: probability and evidence.
Sorry, do you mind if I answer this?
Yeah, I do actually.
Because this guy's been
No, I mind.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, Max.
Well, it's all right, man. But if you want to do this and put me in front of your camera, then you got to stay on message.
You're right. No, you're right.
So, probability and evidence, right? So you're right that it is incredibly unlikely that the conditions for life would arise, and yet they seem to. And you can make an argument that that might be seen as evidence for the possibility of an external force acting, right?
That's what I've just done.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this then.
Yes, sir.
You believe in some force that is active externally on our universe to create life, do you?
Some force?
Yeah, a force.
That is what?
You believe in a force that acted external from us onto our universe to create life, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so do you think that force is sort of an ethereal, all-encompassing force, or is it more specific? Does it have more concern with, say, the inhabitants of Earth and the inhabitants of other planets?
Well, these issues to do with my philosophical preferences have nothing to do with the existence or non-existence of the force. So if you're saying, do I believe in the force, we have to presuppose the existence of the force. So before we talk about what I believe the force's interaction...
That's not necessarily true.
But Max, one thing at a time.
That concretely doesn't exist.
Max, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
If you are happy to continue, assuming that there is a force, then I'll continue telling you about the qualities of the force and the logical reason why these qualities must exist within the force. But if you don't accept the force, then it's talking about something which does not exist.
Yeah.
So here, my question to you is, based on the evidences that we've looked at, based on mathematical models and probability theory and all these different things that we've talked about today, based on your own standards of truth, will you now accept that it's more probable than not that there was an intelligence behind the creation of the universe?
No, I don't think that I would.
Pardon?
No, I don't think that I would.
Okay, now that is a contradiction.
Where, you could look at the universe as basically like a sandbox full of marbles, right? Like one of those things you can kind of shake and agitate the marbles. And from what we know about the combinations of chemicals that can form into molecules from component atoms, or even smaller down to like quarks and those sorts of things, right? They're really ultra tiny components of the physical world. Random interaction in a theoretically infinite, but even if it's not infinite, a very vast universe will produce chemical reactions just by atoms colliding over time, right? Do you accept that?
Say that.
Sorry, those guys are loud. So, do you accept that in even a very large universe, let's put infinity aside for a second because that seems to be a contentious issue.
When you talk about, are you talking about time? Large in terms of quantifiable space or time, or both, or what?
Let's say both.
Okay, no problem. Because we do live in a very big universe. I mean.
Yeah. So let's say it's just very big and not infinite, just for the sake of fun.
Okay.
And that it contains a very large number of component parts, right? And they all interact randomly. And so over time, many meaningless interactions occur, the kind that just turn into a little bit of heat or a little bit of light, or just don't do anything at all. Two atoms collide and they go boink because they're not chemically compatible, right? But over time, some of them will combine into more complex molecules. Now, those molecules will fly around randomly, and again, the great majority of those collisions are going to result in nothing. But some of them will result in something, and through that increasing complexity over time, you could arrive at the necessary conditions for life without an intelligent external force acting on the universe.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Can I just say,
yes.
You've actually inserted a law by doing that. You know what you said, when they combine and some of them react.
Yeah.
How do you know this is light? How do you know this is heat? How do you know when they combine? You've actually inserted laws So what you're trying to do
No, I can answer that. So the laws that I've inserted into my argument are ones that are based on the body of scientific research that we've done so far. So like I said earlier, I cannot tell you with 100% certainty that when you apply ink to a letter and press it into this page, it's going to make a letter. It's very likely, and it's a reliable business. I would have no problem starting up a printing press tomorrow and making books, because I'm pretty damn certain that every time I try to make a book, I'm going to come up with a book. But it is possible that every once in a while it's going to explode, and I can't tell you with 100% certainty that it's not. So those physical laws that I'm talking about are physical laws that are very well supported by all kinds of things. Like most of us have a smartphone in our pocket. Its operations are based on our understanding of the physical laws. Do they sometimes go wrong? Do we have battery fires? Yes, but most of the times the batteries just charge and release energy as they're designed to.
So
you're right, I did insert some physical laws,
yes,
but they're very well supported. And by all means, if you can
but
disprove
who is the law?
the availability of carbon to bond with oxygen, then do it.
The only thing we really want to do is say that these laws are not random.
Where did the laws come from? That's a good question.
Because
where did the laws actually come from? Did the laws? Where did the laws come from? Yeah, where did the laws come from?
We don't have absolute knowledge of where they came from.
Let him answer,
it's
please.
presumptuous.
So I didn't hear what you said because of the.
Guys, if you want to debate, you got to do it off camera or later. Not that I don't want to hear what you have to say. I do. But...
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so the laws based on experimentation. Where did they come from? We don't know, but we don't know one way or the other. Like both sides of this debate are in the dark as far as that's concerned. You can't say with certainty it was an intelligent designer.
I'm saying
I can't
that
say with certainty.
You can't
I
say.
Want to be clear, it's very likely that wasn't the case, but I cannot say with 100% certainty. What?
Max.
Well,
This. Max, no.
All right.
No. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Philosophically.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Philosophically, there is nothing in the whole of philosophy which you can say is incorrigible completely, which means, you know what incorrigible means. Number two, that you could say could be said absolutely with certainty. Yeah, okay.
It's all based on likelihood.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is why.
Back to the probability
This is why. Thank you.
Everything's probability.
Everything is probability. Now, that is why everything is faith. That's the thing is about atheists and agnostics, is that they presuppose that religious people are the only ones who have faith. So they can make themselves feel good about themselves, self-aggrandize in a narcissistic type way, pointing the finger of blame at the backward. I'm not saying that's what you do.
Yeah, sure.
But the backward religious
I said
type.
agnostic earlier, so I remember that.
Not you. I'm not making this point.
Those other
but because those other atheists that say, look, you guys believe in the fairy tales of the old and you have no evidences and you have faith and blind faith at that. This is a disingenuous philosophical position. Everyone has some kind of faith. We base the faith on probabilistic type reasoning. Yeah. Today I've shown you, and you've come to a conclusion almost, but I don't know why you're not admitting it.
The reason is this.
That the universe is probabilistically more likely to come from an intelligence
that has ever been run so far, and again, open to being proved wrong. There's no experiment that's been run so far that has proved in any way the acting of a cosmic force upon everything on Earth.
This is not the condition you set for us. Hold on. Oh, sorry. You have not said in the beginning of this discussion that your standard is a scientific empirical standard.
Yeah.
You have not said that. Even that's a weaker standard, the probabilistic standard. Because if you use that standard, you can't even prove the existence of mathematics.
Do you feel confident getting on a bus? That it's going to roll forward when the driver presses on the gas pedal?
Listen, this is what you're saying here has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
No,
I'm saying
that's a lot to do with
No, hold on. I'm saying that you have said in the beginning of this discussion.
It's a probabilistic argument, and then I congratulated you on trapping
me.
Yeah.
No problem. I'm not trying to trap you, Max. I'm just trying to show you.
You are. For your audience's sake, you are.
Listen, if that's how
spade is spade.
Okay, look.
This is about you demonstrating to your audience that theism is a more concretely demonstrable reality than atheism.
I think that's part of it. But you know what?
Part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Come on, that's why you're here.
Probably that's the majority of the reason.
That's the bulk.
Yeah, okay, I take that. Not only to demonstrate to the audience, but to the interlocutor as well. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So here, I'm saying to you, it seems like you call it a trap. But I don't know why you call it. Why are you calling it a trap?
Because it was a well-constructed argument, and I didn't think before I spoke, and therefore you got me into a position where I had to admit.
Do you know?
Intelligent design was low.
Max.
But I don't accept that as adequate proof of the existence of a designer.
Fine, I will leave it at that. You know why I will leave it as that?
What's that?
Because I personally believe you have contradicted your own truth standard. You've almost said that there's 99% possibility, 99.9 recurring percent of possibility, that the universe came out not as a result of randomness, which would necessitate non-randomness, which would necessitate a force.
The very nature of probability everything that has a representative number tied to it, right? Like every chance could occur, right? So by your own model, although it's
if you have the existence of infinity only, which we talked about before, we don't want to go around in circles.
yeah, we don't want to do that.
Okay, Max.
So yeah,
do you want to keep
I
it?
did say no. I did say that it's less than a 1% chance, right?
Yeah.
But what you need to do in order for this to be a very concretely convincing presentation and not just like a semi-weak one, is you need to then follow up on that and say, and this is why I know that we are not living in the percentile where this did occur randomly. Because so far all you've done is prove that both are possible, and I accept that. I mean, I've been a fool not to.
No, I haven't showed you that. I've showed you that the universe has a 99.9 recurring percent chance of not coming about randomly, which would necessitate that it has to have come about non-randomly, which would necessitate a organized force. And you're saying that you don't want to believe that. So this is I personally believe, is intellectual dishonesty, because that was your own standard.
Yeah.
And that's why you call it a trap. But why call it a trap? It's not a trap. You're in a trap.
I think I did actually. Let's back up a step.
Believe that much. 99% is not easy number.
No, hang on.
What makes you believe that?
Hang on. 1 second. I realized I made a mistake.
Okay.
In an infinite universe. No, I'm fine. Fuck it. You want to end this thing?
Okay. Yes. Listen, Max. I think the best thing to do is me and you have a conversation off cameras, because I think there's a feeling that we're doing it for the sake of the audience. So we'll do it maybe.
Well, let me just dismantle that really quick.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a bunch of cameras if you weren't doing it for the sake of an audience. So
I'm doing it for the sake. I'm doing it for the sake of the audience. I want the audience to be acquainted with the arguments, and I want an interlocutor to provide the devil's advocate position, and you've done a good job in doing that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that if you want to do it afterwards as well, we can do it afterwards as well.
I may.
All right, we'll talk about it. You're invited to dinner. We're going to break our fast after.
All right, you're up, buddy.
Sorry.